Dísa Thors' whimsical and colorful style may seem bubbly, but she didn't reach it without going through a lot of struggle and hardships. So, what is below that gorgeous iceberg of success? You can find more of her work at disadoodles.com, but for now, please join us as we talk about how art can help you go through tough times, getting inspired when you don't want to get out of bed, why growing your social media following should not be a goal, how to make your art consistent, and a full on Ghibli geek out.
Want to be part of the show? Then send in your questions or topics you'd like to see covered to our email at hello@etralab.com. If you send us an audio recording, we might include it in the episode. Hi, I'm Anya, and this is Make More Art, a podcast by Etra, meant to inspire you to keep on creating. Now let's hear from our guest.
Okay, Disa, I am excited to have you here. You have the most colorful and cute Instagram feed that I've seen for the past months. And before we get to that, can you just give us a super short summary of what you've been doing up until now?
Okay. Do you want an introduction as well, or yeah? Okay. My name is Disa. I go by Dísa Doodles online, and 2020 has been a year for me. It really has been. We've had a lot of bad, but it has also been like the biggest year for me. So what I've been doing up until now is I started off as unemployed,
Mhm.
and now I've managed to make my art at least a part-time job, which
Okay.
is really helping. And I do create mostly traditional art with Posca markers,
Mhm.
but my secondary medium is digital art. And what I do mainly is just create lovely pieces of artwork that make blah, sorry, that
Mhm.
makes other people smile. The best comments I get is like, "This made my day. This made me smile. I had a hard day today, and then I saw this post or I read your comment or something, and it just makes people smile, and they tell me that it made them smile, and it just made my day. It just makes my day."
Aw. Well, that's a beautiful combination of you doing kick-ass art and people taking the time to be generous and kind, which I really appreciated. Because sometimes it feels like we're so secluded in our own world, in our digital world, and we're putting
Yeah.
stuff out there, but no one says a peep. So we're like, why even bother? But yeah. So, peeps, if you're listening to this, if any piece of art today or whatsoever made you smile or gave you any kind of positive energy, go tell that artist. Please, please do that because
Because
I'm sure you'll make their day.
it really means a lot to them.
Wow. So, how did you go from? So, 2020 was a nightmare year for
Oh,
many people. You managed to turn that into a positive thing for you.
yes. So I lost my job in January of this year, so
Mm-hmm.
mid-January. And thankfully, in Iceland, we have unemployment support, and you're eligible for that if you've worked so and so.
Mm-hmm.
So I was eligible for that, so it's not like the end of the world for me, ish. But I knew that it wasn't gonna be enough money, and I knew that unemployment in Iceland is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have a lot of unemployment and we have few jobs. Then everything hit the fan in
Uh
the
oh.
beginning of March.
Dun dun dun
Yes. So it got
dun.
even harder. And then that's when I knew like, okay, I have an opportunity to do my very best and put my art first. So I tried and I just you can say it like I grinded, I hustled, I did everything I had learned. Like I learned in school, what I've learned from my peers, from them learned from just watching other people both on YouTube, online, on Instagram. And I made sure I was doing everything consistent. I was working on like making my cohesiveness like so people would maybe see my art and realize, "Hey, that's the same person."
Mm-hmm.
Like have that style.
Mm-hmm.
And after 4 months of consistent, so March, well, April, June, and July. In July, I got my first opportunity of a paid job, so like a freelance work.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a small job, but
Mm-hmm.
it was the first. And now, most recently, I finished two big pieces. I have to be careful, I'm not allowed to say,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
I finished two big pieces for a company in Australia, actually.
Aha.
I thought that was funny. And I've also had like smaller opportunities, like to be here with you today. And
Thank you.
I've been also selling my art online with my store. So that's how I kind of moved from being completely unemployed into now part-time artist. Sadly, part-time still unemployed, but I hope
Mm-hmm.
that 2021 might bring more opportunities for me. And I have
And
something lined up for the first 3 months,
mm-hmm.
so
So
that's good.
you're planning on being full-time artist by
Yes.
2021. Wow.
Well, hopefully in by this time next year,
Mm-hmm.
I can check off my goal to be a freelance illustrator or an
We should
artist.
do a catch-up call this time next year and
Oh,
just
that would be fun.
we totally should. Even it's just like a bonus episode. Let's check in. But okay, so a couple of things. So when you said what you learned from school, so did you go to art school?
Yes, I do not have a bachelor's degree because I couldn't afford to go to
Mm-hmm.
university, but I studied art for 5 years in an in introduction level, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the basis for all art, so like shapes, forms, color theory, light and
Foundation.
shadows, yes, foundations for everything. Then I studied graphic design
Mm-hmm.
to the level of like I finished everything up to going to university because like I said, I couldn't go. I also
Mm-hmm.
studied architecture all the way up to university level. And I studied it for 5 years. Like I did all the anatomy, we did history, everything. And it teaches you a lot of rules that you're not allowed to break until you get to go on your own path.
Because you cannot break the rules until you really understand it. So when you know
Yes,
why those are rules and why you cannot break them, then you know when it is the time to break them.
exactly.
Because then you have a reason to break them. There's a
Exactly.
purpose there. Without a purpose, then breaking rules is just doing nothing. Um,
Exactly.
so I find that very interesting. So you do not need to go to college, to university, to actually be successful in art. You need, when correct me if I'm wrong, looking at
Mhm.
you and other examples that I've seen through my existence in this world, you need grit, passion, and be willing to fail and learn the fundamentals. What you did was 5 years of intensive training on the fundamentals of art and the theory behind it. You know all the history, so
Yeah.
you know what the that's. I had a conversation with a friend once before COVID struck. We were talking about wars and the state of the world, and he made a comment that really stuck with me, which was something along the lines of humans are really great at archiving everything, but not learning anything from their past. If you look over history in centuries, history repeats itself. We go to war over the same stuff and we do the same mistakes over and over again. We're just doing the same mistakes, hoping a different outcome comes out of it. That's
And
not learning.
that's called crazy.
Yeah, that is
That's
called
the
crazy.
definition of being crazy.
Yeah, we're great to do that as humans in general. We're amazing. In you You're an I mean it. You're an inspiration. You were in a rut. You have a kid. You have a 5-year-old, right?
Yeah.
And you're unemployed. You have a kid depending on you. Thankfully, you live in a country that has some kind of support, which is good.
Yes.
Some people don't have that, depending on where they live in the world. I do understand that. I'm not saying that, it's easy because it's not psychologically. And I think everyone can relate to this now because of COVID. Psychologically, it takes a toll on us to be able to get up when we're so down.
Yeah. And especially like uh, the difference I felt in the beginning of my unemployment and like the beginning of the COVID hitting here in Iceland is
Mm-hmm.
that you don't like I know a lot of people have actually said to my face like, well, it's just a vacation. No, it's not. It's so much unsure and
Yeah.
everything. And people told me, well, you can't just sleep in. It's okay. Like, no, it's not okay. I need a reason. I need to find my reason to get out of bed at a normal time in the morning. And that was art for me. I woke up at 8 a.m. every morning, even though I had no quote unquote work to go to. I just woke up. I like sometimes I have to admit I was still in my PJs, but I woke up and I went out of bed and
Yeah,
like I had
that's a
breakfast
lot.
or coffee, and then I sat down at my desk and I started drawing. And I
Yeah.
started bettering myself. I was watching videos. I was trying new things. That's how I came across the Posca markers. I've had them for like 2 years, but in the beginning of 2020 was like the year I was like, okay, I've had these for 2 years. I need to try them out, like
Yeah.
really try them out. And that just skyrocketed everything for me because I
Wow.
really love the medium. I loved and really enjoyed creating things with that medium, and
Mm-hmm.
people enjoyed it as well. And it brought kind of like the little bit of sunshine or a little bit of a smile at a horrible start to a year.
Yeah. Can you, I know it's hard to pinpoint one reason, but what changed for you? What was it that made your brain clicked and you're like dang it, let's just do it. So what was it?
I had nothing to lose. I know that sounds cheesy, but I had nothing to lose. I've tried. I've been on Instagram for 3 years now, like actively posting regularly on a regular basis for 3 years. I It took me 1.5 years to reach my first 1,000
Mm-hmm.
followers, and it took me another half year to reach 2,000.
Mm-hmm.
And that was this. I was around 5 at the start of this year, just so people get the concept of
Mm-hmm.
how long it really takes, because not everybody can just like jump in and it happens.
Mm-hmm.
And the point was like I would say in March, April. So everything in the world is upside down.
Mm-hmm.
I have no job. I have I have like I actually after tax I have below minimum wage income. And I have to pay rent, I have to pay food, I have to like buy clothes for my kid, I have to do all these things. And I was like, well, okay, you have nothing left to lose. So why not now? Why not use this time? You have the like what's it called? The stress of working and like doing everything work-wise was
Mm-hmm.
not there anymore because I
Mm-hmm.
had no job. So all my energy and like my will could just go into making art.
Why art?
I've always done art. The typical one. I've been drawing since like I could hold a pencil.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was 8 years old, yeah, 8 years old, uh, big moment happened in my life. My parents split up and we moved, me and my mother moved to the other side of the country. So to a very small town of around 1,000 people. And I had no friends. I knew two people that were my grandparents. So the only thing, and I didn't have, like, we didn't have a computer there.
Wow. What year
So
was this?
this was 2003. So we moved
Okay.
in early 2004.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yeah. So I was 8 in 2003 and we moved 2004. So my birthday's in October, so I was still 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no friends. I was in a new place. I didn't know anyone, but I had Cartoon Network and coloring books, like just
Wow.
normal coloring books. So I just started, and that kind of inspired me to do more art. So when we actually got our first home computer, like we had
Mm-hmm.
one computer for the entire house, that's when like uh, I don't want to say video games just yet because I wasn't fortunate enough to like own any video games or any video game consoles or anything. I got to play with my cousins,
Mm-hmm.
but that later on played a factor in it. But just being, I think, exposed to like Cartoon Network and movies, Disney movies and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
and being alone. So I had to entertain myself. Sadly, I didn't have any friends. Nobody really
Wow.
liked me. I never like I know it's kind of sad to say it, but it's also like I'm here, I'm stronger, I'm better off. So it's
Yeah.
okay. I
Yeah.
learned.
So since you were little, you learned to take any challenge, any struggle thrown at you and turn it into an advantage.
Yes, I can say that. Yeah. I feel confident saying like thank you.
Yeah, you're one hell of a strong woman. This is a great way to start my day. This interview is making me pumped to go and make more art. And by the way, you have now so you said 3 years in Instagram. First year and a half, 1,000 followers.
Yeah,
When you
roughly.
reach 2 years, 2,000 followers. You have 44,000
Yeah, I
followers.
I woke up to that this morning.
And by the time of this interview, guys, so I'm interviewing Dísa. This is December 4th, and I'm pretty sure this interview is coming out in January, so this number is very updated by now. So check it out. So Dísa Doodles on Instagram. Wait, so are you telling me that within 1 year, even though you spent 2 years posting constantly, in 1 year you went from 2,000 to 44?
5,000. In
5.
uh,
Okay.
Inktober of 2018 was a good month for me. Something clicked with the algorithm there, and it boosted me almost up to 5,000. So in 2019. Inktober of 2019. It's 2020 now, sorry. In
Still.
January of 2020, I hit, like in mid-January, I hit the big 5,000. And I cried because I've been working for that for a long time. And I just want to put it in here, like, because I know some people are going to think, well, numbers don't mean anything. I know numbers don't mean anything, or not everything.
It's a validation.
But yes, and also numbers indicate growth in this formula. And growth also indicates more opportunities. I know not a lot of people want to hear this, but companies will look at your numbers. They will
That
look
is
at the
true.
statistic. They will look at how many comments and likes you get. But you have to make sure that you don't get caught up in it. That's the difference. So
I do-
sorry.
Sorry, I just wanted to add to that. I do teach a social media marketing for artists class every now and then. It's a mentorship, a 3-week mentorship. And that is part of my pitch. Like, people are so caught up in growing their numbers that they don't think on how to actually do that in the right way. They just throw art at the wall like it's some kind of cement and see what sticks, you know? And they only focus on, I need to grow my numbers, so they just do whatever, and nothing happens, and then they get overwhelmed, and then they quit. So I think I agree with you with what you're saying, which is don't focus on the numbers. The numbers is not, what I tell my students all the time is the numbers is not an end goal. The numbers is a result of your strategy done right. So if you only focus on the numbers, you're not going anywhere.
Exactly. Because people are not there. Okay, people are there for the numbers and they're not there for the numbers. But like I think every artist and especially I think I hear this a lot on YouTube, if you're not yourself,
Exactly.
if you don't do things for yourself, people will eventually, it might work in the beginning, but people will eventually pick it up and they're like,
It's not genuine.
yeah, this person is just in it for the likes or the followers or the subscribers or this and that.
Yeah. They don't resonate. You're trying to create something genuine there, and this is how long-term stuff succeeds if you're not being true about that, if you're not coming from the inside. Anyway, I do have a full course on that, but moving forward, please continue.
Okay, in January of this year, like I said, unemployment, a bit more free time, and I decided to put it into art. I had a goal for this year. I had a few goals, like the New Year's resolutions, if you will. And one of those was if I could manage to create work that I loved and others liked. They didn't have to love it if others liked. And that could help me reach more people. I put it this way because if you just say, you could say it in another way. Like, I wanted to gain more momentum on social media because momentum can bring opportunities. In the first 3 months, like, it was going okay. So January, February, and March, it was going okay. Not a lot of fast growth or anything like that. Like, I think I had like 7,000 around June. May or June, yeah. And then I just focused, like, okay, I put out my first Posca piece, for example. I was like, okay, I'm nervous about this. This is like nothing I've ever done before. what's gonna happen, but I enjoyed it, so I wanted to show it. I wanted to like see what others thought. People liked it. Okay, so I kind of moved into like half digital. I was doing a lot of digital work then. I was half digital, half Posca markers, and I loved doing both equally. I find this is very important. Like I love doing both equally, but it's also kind of hard when you see like you spend 5 hours on a digital piece and maybe 100 people like it or see it, and you spend like half an hour on just something like a brain dump, or you had some idea, or you thought it
Very
was cute.
spontaneous, yeah.
Yeah.
The energy's all there.
And 7,000 people see it. So that was also a motivation, like because we all feed off like that, like clap on the back sometimes. It's so nice.
It's biological, you know.
Yeah.
It's a hit of dopamine. It creates addiction.
Yeah.
I mean it.
And so then I was like, okay, let's try and focus on the traditional side for a bit. And I just like, I realized that you can do so much with these markers, and not at the beginning of this year, not a lot of people were using the markers. The biggest name I knew was Casey Golden. She's on YouTube. She's an amazing artist.
She is. Very sweet
now
too.
we have more artists and my art friends actually using Posca markers, and I find that so fascinating that like in 4 months these markers have gone from like nobody I felt use them to they are a staple at a lot of people's desks.
So you found a niche there, an opportunity.
Yes.
Not by accident, kind of.
No, I've had these, like I bought my first markers in on the 5th of October 2018. That's my birthday. That's what I
Yeah, we
remember.
artists are great at hoarding art supplies and books.
Yes.
What's up with us? Why do we do that?
Oh, I don't know.
It's shiny. It's like, oh, shiny new thing. Grab it. Anyway, a question. So it was a change of going from digital to mainly traditional. The choice of art supplies, but the consistency of styles.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Can you elaborate?
A lot of questions. A lot of people ask, "How do you find your style?" There is no simple answer to that. There is time. With time, you find your style. If you draw often enough, if you practice often enough, you will subconsciously pick out the things around you that you like, and you will dispose of the things you don't like. You will mash it together, and that becomes your art style. What I have struggled with, and still struggle with, is the consistency in the way I do my art. And what I mean by that is, if you look at my feet, yes, you see the bubbly colors, you see the Posca markers, you see, of course, my same flat lay, because I have like a window, you can see it right there. So I still look at my work and I go, if I saw this, like if it wasn't me and I saw this maybe somewhere, like a few pictures of mine all together on a wall in a gallery, I don't think I would look at it and go, oh, that's the same artist. And I don't really know why that is. A lot of people say, like, yeah, I can spot your work from a mile away. And I'm like, I can't do that. So my goals for this year was to try to make something more cohesive so that when I look at my art, I go, yes, like I could make a series out of this.
And
Which is also, sorry?
and I'm like, so what is it that makes it cohesive? Can you pinpoint it? Is it like the palette? Is it the
For
line?
some artists, it's the palettes. For some artists, it's the line width or the, like, if they use a sketch brush or something. For some artists, it's they draw the same items, like Pugly, for example. That is an amazing, lovely artist who draws pugs, and he draws a lot of pugs and animals that can be cohesive. There we go. And another great artist that I feel you can spot work from anywhere is Lowish, for example. Like, rather it's her sketches, her backgrounds, her line work, her color palettes, you just see it and you go like, yeah, that's her.
Yeah, immediately.
And another artist I feel does this very well that uses Posca markers is Tiffany. She goes by Apple Cheeks online.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really know if it's just because she always uses the same color palette, but something when I look at her work, I just feel that it belongs together. Even though
Mm-hmm.
it's not maybe the same subject, it's drawn several months apart, I just look at it and I feel the cohesiveness. When I look at my own art, I still lack a bit of cohesiveness, and I'm still learning and I'm still growing.
It still takes a lot of self, like in you do a lot of introspection, it feels like to me, and you're pushing yourself to grow on a constant basis to be able to spot that and be very not hard on yourself, but you're hard in a good way, you know, you're pushing yourself to get better and better, and I think that's what makes it so special, and how you keep on growing so fast. And you know, you really want to get better because it's for yourself, it's not for others to like.
Yeah.
And there's a
I
lot to love there.
I I've had several years of doubting myself and trying to be better a version of myself for others. Thankfully, I have a lot of love in my life. I have people that love me for who I am. They
Good.
support me. They support my art. They're just I I have I have disposed of what doesn't help, and I have brought in a lot of help. And I'm
Wow.
still learning. I'm still growing. Everybody does, I hope. But I've also tried, like, of course, there do come days where I beat myself down. I have so bad days that, like, I might create a masterpiece,
Hmm.
but I hate it and it never sees the light of day.
Hmm.
Because
How do you
sometimes we,
how do you get out of that kind of rut?
oh, some days I just have to turn it off. It's not easy, it takes a toll on you. It's just sometimes you need to turn it off because you might need to finish a project. You have that deadline coming up. You just need to do it. But when it's more personal, I just take a day off. I know not everybody has the convenience or capability to do that, but I just turn off. I watch my favorite TV shows. I eat chocolate. Like,
Oh,
there's,
yes, the food for the soul.
yes. And then
Hallelujah, sister.
I usually take something I'm not comfortable with. So I have gouache, I have acrylics, I have different mediums. So something other than my usual work, which is digital or Posca markers. And I paint with my fingers. I take a sponge brush and try and do something. Not a finished work, not even sketches. I just put my feelings out,
Wow.
and it sometimes helps. If that doesn't help, then I go to my partner and I'm just like, my battery is drained. I just need a hug. And
Oh,
we just sit together and he just like, here's your battery back, and he just hugs me.
you know,
So
that's very important. I mean, when you say let a lot of people have the luxury, let's put it in that way, to take a break. But if we look at it, if we really look at it, there's this analogy. It's not mine. It's very famous. I forgot who created it. I'm sorry, but it's like the axe analogy. That if you go out in the forest, this like someone gave this man an axe and said, you have to chop down 5 trees by the end of the day. And the man spent the first 4 hours just sharpening up the axe. And
yeah,
then the last hour, 5 trees were down, and he brought the 5 trees. And someone else was just trying to frantically chop the 5 trees without sharpening up the axe, and they were exhausted and tired, and only 1 or 2 trees came down.
mm-hmm.
So I think it really speaks to what you said. If you don't take time to sharpen your axe, how on earth are you supposed to make any mark worth of making, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You need to give your, even if it feels like you're wasting time, because this is a struggle that I see a lot, and I feel it myself too, because we're all humans, we're all the same. But if we don't take the time to get our axes right, we can't do anything. We're constantly burnt out.
it can be a time wasted instead of time gained.
Yeah. So we're just wasting more of our energy and doing nothing, and it's a negative cycle. We keep on feeling down because we spent 5 hours trying to make art and nothing came out of it. But instead, if you took
Mm-hmm.
4 hours to go on a walk, eat some chocolate, and I don't know, do something you love, in 1 hour you would do probably way more
Possibly,
than, you know.
yeah.
We need to
And
practice self-love.
I know this, yeah, exactly. That's the hard part, and I've thankfully seen recently a lot of conversation about this online and on Instagram especially. That is my main source of social media, so I consume most of my content there. And thankfully, a lot of artists have been putting into the light how much time they actually spend doing certain things, which is amazing
Yes.
because you might look at a piece, and this is a bittersweet moment for me because I know my online name is Dísa Doodles, but it actually is so hurting when people comment, "Oh, I love this doodle," and I spent 4 hours on it. I'm
I
like,
know.
I know you're just being nice. Thank you so much. I love your
I have
comment. I
to
like
say,
every comment, and
it
I thank them.
hurts.
But it hurts because you don't. Some of my doodles are just doodles and took me like 20 minutes, and I have no
Yeah.
problem with that. I take that as it is. But
But
sometimes people
sometimes,
comment,
yeah.
and what I was trying to say is with the like taking care of yourself and uh, I'm just gonna show you this.
Oh,
Like
if you guys are watching this on YouTube, please, if you're not watching this on YouTube, check YouTube as well. So we have a beautiful illustration from Disa that says, give yourself time to grow, and it's a gorgeous illustration. So turn in our YouTube channel, guys.
promo anyway, and a lot of people have like overworking is a serious thing for artists because people expect so much work to be done in such short amount of time. This applies both
Yeah.
to companies that are hiring illustrators
Yep.
or something like that, and this also applies to like, for example, Instagram's algorithm. Instagram expects you to do this, and this in a day.
And Instagram keeps changing the rules all the time. You
Exactly.
know, the algorithm today is not the algorithm next week, and you're like spend a bunch of time trying to figure out how Instagram works, and then it changes the game, and you're just going in circles and going insane, and it rhymes. Good, look at me, rhyming in English in the morning. Didn't too. Before you wrap up, I want to do a geek out with you. Ghibli stuff. You do a lot of Ghibli related. Actually, that's how we found you. You know, when we were looking for cool art, Angel just told me the other day. Angel is one of the admins of our Etcher Studio, which is our platform that has a bunch of free live demos. And Disa, you'll be doing one on January 26th.
26th, I believe, yes.
Yes, I think so too. I have it open right here. January 26th. Yeah, so at your studio, we have a bunch of free live demos, and Disa will be joining us on January 26th to do one. And we're doing a really cute Ghibli character. We're doing, what's the little fiery dude's name? I forgot.
Calcifer.
Yeah, we're doing Calcifer, and it's going to be on water-based markers, and it's going to be really cool because you're learning how to create not only whimsical characters, but it's a fiery character. How on earth do we get a fire character with pens, with markers? So we're going to definitely bring that to life on January 26th so it's a Tuesday, so it's at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So you should definitely check that out. But anyway, okay, so that's how we found you. So Angel was looking for the hashtag Ghibli on Instagram, and you came up. And she was like, hey, Anya, do you want to meet up with this artist? She has a lot of Ghibli. I'm like, yes. And then I looked at your feed, I'm like, Pokemon. So tell me, why so much? Why Ghibli? Why Pokemon? What draws you into these kinds of themes?
I am a giant nerd. And I say that in the sweetest, most loving, and most accomplished way possible. I love being a nerd. I love the things I nerd about, and I just love it. When I was a kid, I have an older brother, and he's 11 years older than me, so he was really, like, he was a teenager when I was young. And when he had to babysit me, I say had to because he was like forced to.
I want to go out with my friends and I have to take care of little Dísa.
Exactly. We watched a lot of cartoons, and one of those cartoons was Pokemon. Of course, the Indigo League.
I love your brother. Thank you, brother.
Yes.
Thank you. What's his name?
His name is Inky.
Inky, thank you so much for raising the best human ever.
And that, of course, just like manifested in me. And when Pokemon cards came out, when the base set, like I I was still very young when the base set originally came out, but since I live in Iceland, we get everything like a century later.
Oh my god.
When the base set released in Iceland, and we started collecting Pokemon cards, and I was playing, like, I got my first Game Boy. That's the only
Oh.
console I had for like 10 years. I had a Game Boy Color, and then when that was about to die, I got a Game Boy Advanced, and I played Pokemon. I played Pokemon Yellow when that came out later, and I played, wait, what was it? Sapphire. Yes. And then uh later, because me and my brother, we like, he's my older brother, so of course we fight and everything like that. But when we had like our moments together, we would always watch like movies. And we still do this till this day. Like, if we get together and we're like having a moment, we watch a good movie together, a new movie, an old movie. And then, like I said, my brother has always been an inspiration. Like, he doesn't do anything art related. He's just like my big brother, and I love him. And he introduced me to Spirited Away because he knew that might appeal to me. Because at that time, I think I was around 11 or 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a teenager. I had no friends. Like, I had a hard time in school with, like, not academically, but just like a hard time in school. So he showed me this, and that just sparked my love for Ghibli. I had to know everything. I had to know everything about the studio. I wanted to know everything about the company. That's how I got introduced to Hayao Miyazaki. I had to watch every single film. I have not done that yet, but it's on my bucket list. I've bought every film I've ever seen with them. I have 13 now, so I've just slowly been gathering my Ghibli fandom
Mm-hmm.
and
Wow.
nerdism, if you will.
Favorite Ghibli movie so far?
So far, of course, okay,
It is hard.
my all-time favorite one is Howl's Moving Castle.
Mm-hmm.
The reason for that is because I I love the sceneries they chose for that movie, and I love the growth of Sophie.
Okay, that's good. Good
I
reasoning.
like
Good choice.
Howl is a love-hate character for me. Like, he's such a meanie. He's a tough person, but he's also been through a lot. So like, kind of love him, you kind of don't. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But Sophie is, yeah. It's just like the
No
way.
spoilers.
No spoilers, but the way she grows throughout the movie is, and of course I love my Calcifer. He is an iconic, and in the book itself that the movie is based on, he is he is a fire demon. So I recommend that if anyone's listening and they love Studio Ghibli and they love the films, I recommend the book House Building Castle as well. It's what the story is based on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just
My personal recommendation before we wrap up, guys, would be Whisper of the Heart. Have you seen that one?
yes. No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, please let me know your thoughts when you do. I I love it. I cried so much. I'm not a crier. I don't usually cry when I watch movies, but I cried so much. And I mean, I cried a lot when I was pregnant. This was way before I was pregnant, so it's legit, guys. I cried. I drooled. It was awful. The movie was so gorgeous, and it speaks a lot to us artists. It's about this girl who wants to be a writer, and her growth as a character, as a human being, while she understands how hard it is to do a creative job.
Hmm.
Anyway, I'm not saying anything else, but to any artist out there, Whisper of the Heart is grab a bag of tissues and let me know your thoughts. Okay, we're going to wrap this up.
Yeah.
This is great. Before we do, any advice to our listeners who are going through a hard time?
It's gonna be hard. Some days it's gonna be harder, but you have to let the hard days come. I don't know if this makes a lot of sense. Like, there's always gonna be bad and there's always gonna be good, but you can't enjoy the good if you don't let the bad just like come and go. If don't let it manifest. So if you're tired and you have a deadline and you can't take the whole entire day off, just take 10 minutes. Do something else.
That you
and then
love.
come back. That you love.
Laundry
Or
is
something
not
new.
valid.
No. Like taking 10 minutes from like work if you're an artist or if you're trying to do art and doing laundry, that's just double work. Nobody likes doing laundry. And remember that if you treat yourself well, it's gonna be beneficial for you. Like you look at a plant. If you just give it time, you water it enough, it will grow. So just give yourself time.
What did you think of the episode? Please let us know in the comments section of the post associated with this episode at etrlab.com/Dísa. That's etchrlab.com/DISA. Or if you're watching this over on YouTube, simply let us know your thoughts in the comment section below.
If you're enjoying the podcast, please help us keep the show alive. You can subscribe and give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts at etrlab.com/go/Apple. Or if you're more of a YouTube viewer, please make sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our most recent videos. Sharing is caring and every little bit helps. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Until then, let's make more art.